Hey guys, Meticulous Maynard. Been taking a bit of a hiatus here from all of the YouTube stuff. It's not for lack of content. I actually have a ton of stuff from last summer and fall that I'm still getting through. But I've just been so busy with everything going on at the garage lately that I haven't had the time. As soon as iced tea became kind of like our focus on everything we were getting done at the shop, I just had no time. I did a little bit of work here or there, but I was mostly just so involved in getting that car ready for SEMA that I just never had time to do anything back here. And so, of course, after something like that, I had to take a little bit of time off from work. And when I got back, we were just so flat out busy with everything that I've been slowly getting through my backlog here, but I really haven't had time to get everything done like I wanted to. But so at this point now, I've got content ready to go. So we're going to jump back in time, bear with me, to some stuff. Right now we're going to start on something that happened in the fall, and this is actually a really cool story, and it's going to branch us out a little bit further from everything I'm doing here with Tia Beanie. So let's go hop back in time and go outside. Kind of in this weird situation in the yard now where I kind of have a trail of broken cars sitting behind me. And I kind of need something that's reliable that gets me back and forth to work, especially because the Forester is still being worked on and I've still got a lot more work before that's going to be done. Something, you know, these kind of projects, they just tend to spiral out of control and turn into a lot more than what you originally anticipated. But I don't want to do it wrong, so that's where I'm at. So I ended up with kind of this weird opportunity. I got a phone call from a fan of Rich's, and specifically he was asking for me. But where this all ties together, he had this Chrysler Crossfire here that he's like, I'm older, I don't fit in it anymore, and it has some electrical problems, so I want to give it to you. And I was like, that's way too generous. Turns out the car really just needed a new battery. It had a aftermarket security system on it that was putting a parasitic draw in, killed the battery on it, and all it was doing was sitting there tick, 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 tick. And when I showed up to pick it up, we put a battery charger on it, fired it, popped right up, no problems, engine's running, sounds beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, this will work. There are some issues with some of the electronics on these cars, and I need to look into that a little bit more. And quite honestly, that's usually the reason that I stay away from modern Chryslers. It's one thing when it's an old school Chrysler like that one, although it's also having electronics issues, so maybe I should shut my mouth. But so far, I've been driving for about a week, and it drives really well. And part of that is because this is an incredibly low mileage car. So even though this is a 2007, this car had less than 13,000 miles on it when he gave it to me. I gotta say, one of the nice things about having a car that an old person owned, first of all, look how clean all of this is. Also, in case you didn't believe me, I've been driving it for a week. So I've put about almost 200 miles on it, maybe. Probably not even. So yeah, it was just under 13 when I hopped in here. I think the bill of sale says 12,987. But dude, the thing has a new car smell. Like, this car was 2007, so it's like 14 years old, and it still has a new car smell. And for those in the know, even though it's got the old man Chrysler badging all over it, it's actually a Mercedes SLK under here. It's got the 3.2 liter engine, 6-speed manual, and the suspension setup from an SLK. This is an incredibly fun car to drive. I've had a lot of fun with it so far, and really, aside from just the minor issues with it, I'm super happy with how this whole thing turned out, and I have to say I feel super lucky to be in this position. There are a couple things that still need to be addressed on the car. I have noticed I have a few warning lights on the dashboard. It seems like either a bulb's out or some wirings got cut. I mean, part of the issue with things that have been sitting in a garage up here in New England, a mouse probably ate through some of the wiring on this, so I've got to go through and check things that aren't, or that I've got lights for and everything, in order to make sure those all work correctly. Another issue, typical Chrysler interiors, the headliner's coming down. So that's actually going to be one of the first things I take care of right now, because I've already done, you know, your basic new car maintenance, going through it, checking the underside, and I got to tell you, everything under there was super clean. The car looks practically brand new. The brakes are a little rough on it, but I'm really just trying to see if I can break them back in. It seems like most of the noise has gone away after driving it for a week, but I have to keep an eye on the rotors and make sure that I'm getting good wear patterns. I may have to take them apart and lube, clean them, do all that stuff. I gave it an oil change. It needs air filters, but they're kind of hard to find for this car. And I don't know if I want to change the intake out or not, but you know, don't mod the daily driver. I don't fit in it great at 6'4", but the seat goes down enough that I have about maybe a half-inch headroom. So, and I think that issue is being exacerbated by the headliner. So really that's going to be my first, or that's what I'm going to do next, is try to get that taken care of so I can drive this around on the regular and not feel like my head's in the ceiling. Look at this. Look, it's like ready to fucking come down.
Yeah.
It is so tiny. I love this mini car. I love little mini cars now. Oh my god. This is...
You're on my side now.
I mean, I already liked mini cars, but this is like... This is man.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like a fort.
Pillow fort. Actually, blanket fort.
Blanket fort car.
Now we know where this car sits on the blanket versus pillow fort debate. This is one of those garage door opener things, I'm pretty sure. The other question is, can I just untuck it?
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, start untucking your side. This is my favorite part of automotive, is when I get to climb into weird spaces like this and pull that stuff. And it's down. Headliner down. It is so much better not having the caving in ceiling. My lord. Like, I haven't really seen what the ceiling contours look like yet. I didn't see this center ridge.
Yeah.
I like that. Super easy to reattach.
Yeah. I love how they're like shorter too. Just like the car is shorter, so it's like, I don't need that much.
So to address one of the lights on the dashboard, the oil light, I have to take a look underneath the motor and see what's going on, where that connector is. So I've actually already taken a little bit of investigation and found evidence of rodents. Let's go take a look. Alright, so we are up on the passenger side of the motor, and right up there is my connector for the oil pressure sensor. And then over here, bundled up out of harm's way, they chewed right through the wires. And I already pulled it off and tried to like depin the connector and everything. Just crimped some new wires in there, and I lost one of the pins. So that's why you don't see it here, but they literally chewed right up to the back of the connector. So it's not like I could solder in any new pieces. It took me a little while to find it, but I did find this part number in the casting for the connector itself. So I typed in Mercedes-Benz because all of this is Mercedes-Benz and not, you know, anything Chrysler related. And I got this guy here, which is a pigtail off of another car with a length of wire on it. So this is exactly what I need to just cut and splice right into that guy, reconnect it, and then that light should go away. Time for the moment of truth. Oil pressure light usually comes on there. Come on, oil pressure light, stay off. Seems to be staying off. It's usually on by now. Hell yeah. One less light on. Alright, so the other area where I'm having issue with mice is this side marker light that's right here. It's actually this little guy. It clips in place and you just pop it out. And in this case, again, the mice chewed through the wires right at the connector. I opted to buy one of these online. It's actually just the OEM connector from Mercedes. There's your part number if anybody is in the same boat and needs to get these replaced. And these are crimp-on terminals. And you can actually see I've already got the waterproofing stoppers on the wire here. So all I got to do is strip these, crimp those suckers on, push it into the connector, and then I don't know what I did with the bulb, but I might have to go to the auto parts store to get that. But that's really the last thing I need to do to get the lights to turn off. Here. And this is the stock head unit, very basic. and no aux input, no USB, no Bluetooth. So this has to go, because otherwise I'm just listening to the same CD over and over again on repeat. I've opted for this JVC unit. Model numbers right there and everything. This is a pretty good one, customizable lights and everything. And even though it's not a silver faceplate to match the dash, like some people be concerned about, I'm more concerned with the functionality of it. So to start out with this, you have to push in on these two little tabs. There's a specific tool for it, but I got pocket screwdrivers, so that's how we're gonna go. Starting to get some movement. Obviously, this is easier with the correct tools, but haha, there we go. So as you guys saw, that was a bit of a doozy getting it in there, and this is that mechanism that I was messing with. So this lever locks in to the side panel here. So I had to get my, you can kind of see, you have to get the pocket screwdriver in and push that inwards. So when I'm pushing like this, and you do it on both sides because it's the same deal over here. And actually I've got them wedged in so well right now that it's actually got the whole thing locked in place. But yeah, that's the trick to getting those little DIN connectors out, and then the whole thing just pops right on out, and the harness connector is right here. I believe, according to the instructions I was reading, this is where I tie in. This is a Metra adapter harness that plugs on like this. And then all of these connect to the wiring harness for the head unit. So that's the next step, is getting these all attached to these and get that done there. Future Brian here. So as you saw when I was soldering this on the bench, I just went and matched up all the colors of the wiring harness. And I want to show you right now why that isn't correct. So we're jumping ahead here, obviously. I have everything in the car, plugged it in. I'm getting a weird behavior on the head unit where it's not retaining any of the settings from the last drive. And it's because on the crossfire specifically, see my red wire and my yellow wire? Yeah, they decided those were backwards. So I have to come in real quick and disconnect this. And all I'm going to do is depin the two, the red and the yellow here, and swap them. And it should fix the problem. But the easier way to fix this is just when you're making your solder connection on the bench, just swap the two wire colors. It feels wrong, but you know, it's going to make it work. So just wanted to point that out in case you're following along and trying to do this, and then you plug it in and you're also like, hey, why is my head unit being funny? It's because those two wires got to get swapped. Anyhow, back to the bench. Couple things of note here. I got the adapter harness made up to go from the stock harness here to the back of the JVC unit. There's always a question with head units whether or not you've got an amplifier turn on and also a power antenna turn on. And I actually consulted the wiring diagram for the Metra harness that I got here. And it said for this car, I only needed the amplifier, I think it was, the blue wire. So, which is good because I lost the other wire somewhere in the jumble of moving all my parts around and everything. So, the only thing is that this is the antenna harness that came off, or the antenna connector that came off the back of the stock head unit. And the aftermarket has more of this cup shape one. So I don't actually think I'm going to be able to run the antenna for the time being. But I'm honestly not really bothered by that. I'm going to have Bluetooth and everything. So this is going to be, like, in any car that I have hookups for the phone and the USB, like, I'm never using the radio. So I'm not really worried about that. So at this point, I'm going to get this all tucked up in there. I still have to run a wire for my microphone for the Bluetooth. And obviously the ideal placement for that is up here in the center near the steering wheel and everything. That'll probably capture my voice very well. So I have to figure out, maybe I can snake that up through here real quick. There's a trim piece I have to pull at the bottom of the steering column that might give me access, and then I can snake it, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah, that seems to be in there. Like, I'm trying to, obviously not too hard, but I'm trying to pull that out. And that seems locked in there. And I was just throwing it in there to test fit it, but it's there now. So, yeah, I've got everything set up now. So let's fire it up, I guess. Doing some stuff. Just like I said, FM's not going to do anything. Let's pair it to my phone. God, that beep. This. Off. Oh, thank God. Half bad. Yeah, that sounds really good. I mean, I'm down at volume 1, and actually, that's like the perfect background noise level. It seems to be working pretty well. I mean, I just paired it, opened up some music, and it's playing just fine. It sounds great too, so that's a real plus. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I set out to do. It's amazing when they just work, you know? I mean, I know that I've been doing this for a while now, but like every time I plug it in and everything just seems to be working. None of the channels seem to be cut out. The sound's great. It pairs to my phone, which is great. I also have a USB dongle here, and I have some USB music saved on a flash drive, so I can plug that in and have stuff aside from just what's on my phone. But so yeah, I mean, this is working great. I'm really happy with where this is. The head unit, I even kind of tried to get the color to match what the dashboard looks like a little bit, so that's good. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap on this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I know I've been enjoying this car. There's more to do, obviously, but this at least gets me psychologically so much further ahead. So if you guys enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe, leave me a comment, you know, all the things to let the algorithm know that I'm doing something right here, maybe, kind of, sort of. And I'll catch you guys all next time.